Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Okay. So last time we saw the 40th verse. Real cannot come from the real, real cannot come from the unreal, unreal cannot come from the real. All that we saw. But if it still comes, like the world has come from the real, you have to understand it is mithya. Remember, what is a logical impossibility will have to be taken as something which is mithya. Because it's a logical impossibility that you have the creation. Because consciousness cannot change to become the creation. But the creation, you see the creation, that means what? Mithya appearance. Exactly like how you say, the ropes cannot become the snake. There is no way a snake can come from the rope. But you are seeing it, that means what? Mithya. So a logical impossibility shows you mithyatva. In fact, one of the definition of mithya is that agatana gatana ghatiyasi maya. Maya is that which will make what is not possible possible. A rope cannot become a snake, but it makes it look. That's why it makes it look like a snake. The mithyatvam is to be clear there. Yeah. The snake that you see on the rope, you cannot do any puja for it. You cannot do any venom extraction from it. But at the same time, it has got a little bit of vyavahara yogyatva. What is that? It makes you scared. That's all the utility it has. Okay. Yeah. Therefore, we say, what is mithya? Kinchit bhavam asti. If it is tucham, asat chet, na pratiyate, you will not see it. Sat chet, if it was real, na bhadyate, you will not be able to negate it. Therefore, here you are seeing it, but at the same time it is subject to negation. Therefore, you cannot be classified as real or unreal. Sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. Anirvachaniyam is not merely indescribable. Because we are doing a lot of descriptions right now. It is not indescribable. It is, you cannot categorize it as real or unreal. That is what it means. Anirvachaniyam is a short form. The whole expression is Sat Asadbhyam Anirvachaniyam. That which cannot be categorized as real or unreal. So that is what Maya is, that's what Mithya is. Clear up to now? And can we go ahead then? If there are any questions, shoot.
So, Swamiji, if I may ask a question, this is really more as a recap, but last time Sagar had brought up about these, sleep, deep sleep, dream and waking state. And the question was, how does one say one slept? One says that in the waking state. But in what in waking state I'm recollecting deep sleep, not inferring it, right?
No. There is a big difference between inferring and recollecting. Inference is paroksha jnanam, indirect knowledge. It is knowledge, all right. It's valid knowledge, but it is not direct. Like when you infer from the sound that I hear, there is a car going on the road. I am definite it is a car. There is no doubt it is a car. If you go and check up, you will sure see a car. But I have not seen it. It is very different from saying this is a cell phone. This is direct knowledge. That car is in direct knowledge. Now you slept well. or you did not get sleep. Both are direct knowledge. There is no question of indirectness there. And for inference, there has to be some data, and from that data, you have to conclude something else. Sound is the data I had, and I concluded something more than the sound, car. Now, if sleep has to be an inference, data is what? From this time to this time, roughly. I did not know anything. Therefore, I must have been asleep. That's the maximum inference you can do. But from this time to this time, you did not know anything, itself is sleep. So, the data used for a logic is not giving you anything new. Like the sound I use for the logic, it gave me something new, the knowledge of the car. This time to this time, I did not know anything, is not giving me anything new. What is sleep? Not knowing anything. And what is your data? Not knowing anything. So what is the difference between data and conclusion? Between data and inference? There is no difference. There is no difference. Whereas from sound and car, there is a difference. I gained some additional knowledge over and above the perceived sound. Whereas this time to this time, I did not know anything is perception. And what is the conclusion? I did not know anything. You are only adding a word, sleep. So sleep is not an inference, sleep is direct knowledge. The only thing is, when you are asleep, you could not utter it because your mind was not functional. Your mind was resolved. And you, the Sakshi, was witnessing it. When you get up, the Sakshi and the mind gets identified together and you say, I slept. So it's always direct knowledge. You recollect. In waking, you recollect the fact that you directly experience sleep. So sleep is a memory. It can never be an inference. Anything else, Karthik?
So, just a related follow-on question to that, if I may. So, when in deep sleep, when we say the mind is resolved, but we also say deep sleep is an experience.
Yeah.
So, is it that even in the resolved mind, there is a thought
There is, we will say, an ajnana vritti is there.
Ajnana vritti. Okay.
Ajnana vritti. I don't know anything. That vritti is there. Yeah.
Okay.
That
Sure.
much of a
Thank you.
vritti. Ati sukshma ajnana vritti.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Just to say that, I slept. Yeah. But the sleeping mind is being objectified by the Sakshi actually. That's why it's called Avasthatraya Sakshi. No? See, very often we are not aware of the Sakshi. Though I am the Sakshi. But I am not aware of it. Like right now, every word I utter, every thought that is in the mind is objectified by me, the Sakshi. But I am so caught up in the thoughts and the speaking, the Sakshi is forgotten. Then you will never be able to edit what you want to say. Whereas you notice, I sometimes catch myself, no, that's not the way to go. Go this way. Logically go this way, not that way. You are editing because you are seeing how the mind is going and you are saying, no, correct that mind. That means what? You are witnessing the mind. Even in a conversation it can happen. In a functioning, in fact, all this should happen. Okay. Because that is what you are. It is not that any great effort has to be made to become the Sakshi. You just have to recognize and identify. And the problem is, especially in a high pressure situation, I can get carried away by my identification of the thoughts. High pressure situation or in the presence of strong emotions, anger for example. I am so identified with the thoughts, anger, I get carried away with it. Yeah. But at some part of your mind, you know I'm getting angry. Some part you know that also. Yeah. So, anger or high pressure situation which involves you to do a lot of things. Like a fire in a building or something like that. You can be so caught up in what you're doing that the Sakshi etc. is forgotten. Though actually, if you're more centered on the Sakshi, whatever you do will be more effective. Because it will not be impulsive action. So one way professionals get over this being carried away is by the training. The training is ingrained so much into the mind that becomes the natural response. Because when you're training a huge group of people, that's how to go about it. You can introduce a Sakshi. But I find that most modern training methods for emergency responders, etc., does not involve the Sakshi. Because that takes some time and effort to get into that zone of functioning. So some people reach there, you notice, and some of these people, they get that. Those are the people who will say, time slowed down. Everything was happening in slow motion. Everything was happening in the same swing, but you are identified with something which is beyond time, and you are looking at time. Therefore, even time seems to slow down. Even you find some cricketers saying, "Arey, today when I was batting, the ball was as big as a football." Ball was same size, nothing, but you got into a bit of a zone. So, yeah, it's a fast bowler, but the ball was coming slow, to me. It was coming onto my bat. Nothing, your bat was moving. So, most things will happen. Need not be. A wise person, like the Ananta's question is, does a wise person always function from the level of Sakshi? Not necessarily. In fact, he goes one step beyond. What is the truth of the Sakshi? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. So the wise person is functioning from that standpoint. So the Sakshi aspect you bring in for your functioning is part of your sadhana, your practice. So some places you need a high amount of it. Like if you are a samurai warrior, Vajramushti warrior, etc., you need a high level of that. But for normal things, you don't need that high level. So for understanding the truth, you don't need that high level of functioning. It's good if you can, but that comes as part of your competency. Either you have the optimum competency of Karma Yoga, or you have one step more, which is maximum. Optimum is good enough. So someone who has got their Karma Yoga Buddhi, that level of competency, Samatvam, etc., will gain into the knowing the truth and bringing it into their lives. If you want to go to the Sakshi level, fine. But it takes some time and effort to be able to function at that level. So there, because you have to train the mind a bit in that sense. But Sakshi is also you're identifying with the witness. In Vedanta, you are going beyond the witness, identifying directly with the truth. So the truth is the base for all your functioning. So that doesn't affect your functioning. Whereas if you are at the level of the Sakshi, it can affect your functioning into a higher level. Because Sakshi is a halfway house to understand the truth. Yeah, that's why every Vajramushti warrior or every samurai warrior who could function like that did not know the truth. If they are exposed to the knowledge without their martial conditionings, they would know the truth. But many of them did not get exposed to the truth. So they didn't know. That also is there. They don't know. Because you are not exposed to that learning. Sometimes the learning is available, but you don't take it up because you have got too much in your functioning. In your interest. It happens to a lot of us, no? A lot of us might have been exposed to Vedanta before, but we took it up later because that time we were caught up in other things. which is fine. I mean, that's part of life. That's how things move. Now, what can you do about it? Everyone has to come and they're ready for it. Yes, Sagar, you have a question.
Swamiji, my dream is my private universe.
Yep.
But if the waking state is also a dream, there are shared objects. We see everyone shares the same experience.
Correct.
So how it could be compared to Swapna Avastha?
Okay.
Jagrat and Supna.
Yeah, I get your question. Now, in your dream, there are a lot of people there in your dream. At least half a dozen people will be around.
Yes.
All of them are seeing the same world that you are seeing in the dream.
Yes.
Then, so in the dream world, the dream people are experiencing the same world. Waking world, the waking people are experiencing the same world.
Okay.
Yeah. Swakale Satyavad Bhati, in its own time both appear real.
Okay.
Got it, Sagar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice love.
But there also and here also, in dream and waking both, there will be a subjective element in the way you experience things. No? I may look at a nice aloo paratha, buttery, and say, wow, maja aayega aaj. Someone else may look at it and says, no, I can't tolerate gluten, I can't take so much of butter. So both are looking at the same thing, but their experience is different, isn't it? Somebody will look at it and say, ice cream, frozen dessert in this weather, ideal. Then, give me a soft drink. I will say, give me a soft drink, it's better. Ice cream is too hard. I have to melt it a little bit before I eat it. Who is to decide? Who is to decide what is correct? Our subjectivity does come into the objective world also. And the same thing will happen in dream also. Dream also they will find some guy who doesn't like an ice cream. What are you taking a virgin pina colada? Give me the original pina colada. Yeah, there'll be a guy who will say that. That's fine. Because even in the objective reality, it's overlaid by your subjectivity. That is why Pratibhasikam and Vyavaharikam are not hard and fast containers, separate containers. None of the three states, in that, as a dream, yes, it's a way. As waking, yes, it's different. But in terms of subjectivity of the dream and subjectivity of the way, they, Vyavaharika and Pratibhasikam, keep mixing up. What are your ragadveshas? Nothing but Pratibhasikam. No? Yeah. Even deeper, nobler emotions, good emotions, very valid emotions in your life. You love somebody, and somebody asks you, how the hell can you get involved with someone like that? My perceptions are different. I knew this guy who, whichever girl the parents introduced him to, he would reject it. And so I spoke to him and said, do you have a girlfriend, etc.? That's why you're rejecting all this? I'll speak to your parents. No, I have not yet found anyone. Then finally he found somebody. And everyone is thinking, oh, he said, I will get her over. And I said, fine. So the parents very happy. Finally he has found somebody. Na, achha hi hai. And we thought she'll be a beauty queen or something like that. Why? Because he's rejected all the good looking girls that came to him. And finally, when we saw the girl, we were wondering, क्या हो गया उसको? What happened? He found beauty in her. That's good enough. It's subjective. It's subjective. And it's nothing new, it's old one also. In Ramayana there is a description. Sita is being guarded in the Ashokavana. All the Rakshasas are around. And she's staying at peace. Sorrowful but at peace also at the same time. And some of the Rakshasas are discussing, how can Ravana fall in love with such a skinny girl? She doesn't have a belly. Beauty is what? Subjective. Anything in the world is subjective. Forget beauty. Anything else. There is a subjective component. The moment I say I like this, that's a subjective component. Can't avoid that. Can't avoid that. Your culture, your personality, your background, everything goes into it. And sometimes you rebelling against the whole thing also goes into it. Create an anti-script. Your culture, heritage, background create the script. If you rebel, etc., you will create the opposite script, an anti-script. Known facts. So all that is subjectivity. What do you call, intruding into Vyavaharikam. So Vyavaharikam, Pratibhasikam are not watertight compartments. Just talking about the degree of reality. That's why in Vedanta we say, have a high degree of Vairagya. Vairagya means objectivity. Someone translated as dispassion, 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 and that translation is continuing. It's actually
or objectivity.
Yeah, objectivity, yes. Vita raga, when that hatred and that longing is not there, meaning you're objectively appreciating something. Then you can say, I prefer this and prefer that. But that objective appreciation of things is what Vairagya is about. Now, there are works like Bhajagovindam, etc., where things are described negatively. Now, why is that? Is called Pratipaksha Bhavana. Your mind is fascinated by something. Therefore, a text like Bhajagovindam will completely shift to the opposite stand. Pratipaksha, opposite stand. Why? So that your mind will have a balance. Money is everything, money is nothing. No. Money is what money does. It can buy a house, it cannot make it a home. That difference you will understand. So the mind will get balanced. That balanced mind is objective mind. That is the real Vairagya. To say I should not do this, I should not do that, I should not touch this, that's not Vairagya. That is mistaken notions. Because of my fascination for the opposite, my mind is presented the opposite. And if you have the gift of the gab and your mind can think, you can present an opposite to an opposite also. Like for example in Bhajagovindam itself there. Oh, you're looking at a beautiful body and getting attracted. Natural, human. So, and you're fascinated. You can't forget contemplation, etc. You can't focus on learning because you're so thinking of that. Contemplation, etc. You'll contemplate on that form, not on the not on the truth. Because the mind is so obsessed with it. So now the opposite picture is shown. Hey, it is all nothing but flesh and bone and body fluids. What are you talking so much about it? Meaning you're painting a negative picture of the same thing. Why? Because to overcome your fascination. But as I said, if you're a thinking mind, you can present a flip side also. No? Okay, a confession. Years ago, many years ago, I was a first year student in college. 17-year-old. Okay. It's a long way back, okay. Okay, 55 years ago. And a beautiful girl walked into the lab. So I said, wow, what a beautiful girl. So there's a demonstrator, who helps you with the experiments, etc., standing next to you. He says, relax, man. 75% of that is water. I said, very true, sir, but look at the surface tension.
That's amazing.
So what did I do? I presented a flip side to a flip side. It doesn't make me any great, okay? It just makes me smart on my feet, thinking on my feet. That's all it makes me, nothing more than that. Nothing more than that. Not given some great argument or something like that. Nothing. I was just being a flippant teenager, that's all. Nothing more than that. Okay. Yeah. So the idea is Satya Mithya. That's why we say recognize everything as Mithya. Not real, not permanent, things like that. Okay? One is to see it as not real. One to see the impermanence of it. One to see the dependent reality of it. All these are various facets of Mithya. I had put it up on the group. I think on that group it is there. The various definitions of Mithya. 4 definitions of Mithya. I think some of you have it, some of you may not have it. Nirmala, do you have it? The 4 definitions?
Yes, Swamiji, I can post it.
Yeah, just post it on this group again, on this Upanishad group. Both the ones who are only online and the ones who are present physically also, that group. Both this is just presented. 4 definitions of Mithya. You will understand what it is. From 4 standpoints, you are looking at what is Mithya. Ultimately what? Just an appearance. That's Mandukya Karika. When Karika looks, just an appearance. Both the reality is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. And other things, appearance. Now finally it has to come to that. So these 4 definitions that we are going to pose will help you move along that thing. They are valid definitions, Shastric definitions. Okay? To help you get into that thing. Okay. विपर्यसात् यथा जागृत चिंतयन् भूतवत् स्पृशेत् तथा स्वप्ने विपर्यासात् धर्मास्तदैव पश्यति. Now he is giving the ulta example. Okay, as in the waking, so in the dream. He is saying, like what? Viparyasad yatha jagrat. Yatha jagrate, jagrat avaste, in the waking state, because of some viparyasa, wrong conclusion. Okay, chintayan bhutavat sprashet. You will think of some fancier object as though they are real. This happens generally when you project your subjectivity on something. Arey, if I had that money, I'll be so happy. Everything will be. Yeah, it'll give you some financial ease. It will give you some independence in terms of financially. But if your thinking will make you happy, you can be rich and miserable also. You can be rich and miserable. Oh, I am in love with that person. Believe me, half of love is projection. Those who are into psychology will understand this well. Anima, animus, etc. Half of it now is your projection. This guy wants to divorce this woman, and the other guy is waiting to get this woman. Not a wonder the woman is confused. One person hates her, one guy loves her. What is my fault in the whole thing? Nothing. It's projection. So, similarly, you can have a fancy, you can fancy certain things. Can be anything, your perfect house, perfect relationship, perfect job, perfect this, perfect that. And bhutavat sprushet, you deal as though it is real. I'm looking for that perfect job. How many people come, how many youngsters come and telling me this? And I have to tell them there's no perfect job. There'll be a job that you can be happy with. There'll be a job that you can deal with. There'll be a job that you can be comfortable with. Perfect job doesn't exist. What's perfect job? When you have to do nothing and a lot of money will come in. That's also not perfect. Why? There's no joy of achievement, of doing something, of being productive. Then is it perfect? No. And that's also not perfect. And money has its own limitations. Like I know this rich man. He is speaking to his daughter, eldest daughter. Hey, your two younger sisters have found people to love and get married to. What about you? And she says, Dad, you know what happens when you're rich, no? You're not sure whether they're loving you or your money. Bhutavat sprushet, as though it's real, you're dealing with it. You don't know. He says, similarly, tatha swapne viparyasad dharma tatraiva pashyati. The whole dream world is like that only, he says. Because of some error in thinking, you're taking everything that you're seeing as real. There is a big statement in English which is completely off the mark. We say this often. Seeing is believing. In Vedanta, we look at it. In science, we look at it and say, seeing is not believing. You're seeing a flat earth, you can't believe it. You're seeing a blue sky, you can't believe it. You're seeing the sky meeting the earth on the horizon, you can't believe it. Can you? Seeing is not believing. But we are ruled by that. Seeing is believing. So anything you experience is real. It's my own experience. What do you mean your own experience? No, I can speak from experience. That's valid for you, it's your subjectivity. Even if I take the experience as validity, functional validity, it's still limited to you, no? May not be applicable to me. So what is applicable? And then people want to reduce Vedanta also to an experience. That takes the cake. And what is an experience anyway? In fact, if you look at it, what is this thing we are calling an experience? Certain knowledge perception combined with your emotional response to it, isn't it? Swamiji, I went to the beach, it was so beautiful. Oh, describe it to me. What will you describe? The warm sand that you're walking on, clean white beach, the blue sea and the blue sky, the setting sun. All this is experience of pramana. Perception, no? Pramana, knowledge. Then why are you calling it an experience? Because you felt happy with the whole thing. You felt in harmony with the thing. You felt the joy out of the whole thing. Therefore, experience. So, what are you calling experience? Certain perceptual facts combined with your emotional response. And perceptual facts, not one of them is true. Flat earth and the round sky, sky meeting, true. Blue sky, is it true? Optical illusion. Blue see the same thing because of refraction of light, etc. None of them is fact. Can you see how our mind hooks onto that word experience and sticks to it? I want you all to be able to clear that off. Hey, you can go for experience in life, have a great experience, just enjoy the experience. All that is fine. To understand, experience is not fact. Go to the Himalayas. What an experience. Yeah. Your emotional response. And there are people who go to the Himalayas, and I said before I started the class, they want a hairstylist there to take care of their hair, because my hair is all crazy after 3 days, Yeah. So that's the flip side. What is that famous national park in US? Huh?
Yosemite.
So there you should. There are some. There's a book kept for feedback. You should read some of the feedback. Certain parts of this trek there are steep climb. We should put an elevator there. National park, you want an elevator. There are too much of mosquitoes in some areas. One should deal with the park authority should get rid of them. Hey, you are going to their area. They have right of way there. I'm not joking. You go and look at this thing. I had to look at it. It's lifetime ago. All these you'll find written there. There's the subjectivity coming in. Now they may be seeing some extreme. Yeah. Like one of my students took them to Kedarnath, Badri Kedar trip. So the facilities are limited, especially those days. Now they are a bit better. So there are 3-4 people in a room to start with. And this lady is sitting on the bed having a cup of tea with her sheets pulled over so that she feels warm and drinking milk. See, the sheets are stained. I said they are clean. They may be stained, but they are clean. They have been washed clean. Yeah, it's freshly washed, but they are stained. I said, no, why they are stained? Because people like you drink tea in the bed and spill it there, and they have to wash it in the cold water there. The stain won't go. They are washing it in the Ganga. How do you expect? Yeah. They are washing it in the Mandakini river. How do you expect the stain to go? Cold waters below 10 degrees. People like you spill tea on it by having it there. Go outside, drink your tea and come back. Oh, it's too cold. I said, then don't complain about the stains. Why am I saying all this? No objectivity in your thinking. So that subjectivity is the worst thing possible in understanding Vedanta. You can enjoy the subjectivity. Arey, it's nice and cold here. I'm enjoying this tea. Maja aaya. Yeah. Fine. Enjoy it. Yeah. And I remember someone nicked in something hotter than tea also. I said, you have it tonight, but tomorrow you'll have a tough time walking. So he says, seeing something which is not real, which is just a fan, you are taking it as real. This happens in the waking, and the waking example is giving for the dream. Ulta. Normally you are giving dream examples for the waking. Now he does it ulta here. Why? Why is he doing it? To show that, hey, Swakale Satyavat Bhati, both have the validity in his own time. You can't say one is more real than the other. You can't say that. That's the whole idea. But Swamiji, the Shastra speaks so much about creation. What about that? So there must be some validity, na? Tasmad Atmana Akasha Sambhuta Akasha Vayu, etc. Panchikaranam, etc. There's a lot of theories available about creation. What about that? That means creation is a fact? No. Look at it, what he's saying here. Upalambha samachara asti vastu to adinam jatistu deshitas buddhehi ajatehe tatra satam sada. He says theories of creation, okay? Astitva vastutva vadinam. Vastutva vadinam, the reality of creation. Because when you are describing creation, you are attributing a reality to it. He says, Upalambha samachara. Samachara. These are all talked about by the wise people who are what? Jasutu deshitaha buddhehi. To the deshita buddhehi. They are teachings for the buddhi that cannot appreciate the fact that there is no creation. How did that consciousness become the world? They are stuck. The mind is stuck with that question. So some theory is given. Why? The mind is known. Okay. So from the consciousness, all this thing came about. Correct. So all this is consciousness. I understand. What have you understood? You have taken a step forward. From taking the creation as a complete different entity from the consciousness, you are talked about the creation as something which is part of the consciousness. So the whole teaching is meant for what? For you, what do you call? The Manda Madhyama Adhikaris. Madhyama Adhikaris, the average, Mandama, below average. All of us. Okay? For our minds to move from taking the creation as real to at least say, hey, the creation has come from that one consciousness. Okay, so the oneness is important. Correct. Okay. Then you'll go further. It's not a creation, it's only a manifestation. Like waves in the ocean. There also you're taking manifestation as some sort of reality, okay? Even though you know very well the wave cannot exist independent of the ocean, you will still give some reality to the wave or not? Especially if at least on TV you're seeing a tsunami or a huge wave or something, you'll give it a reality. For people like us who sail the seven seas, like Shaboni's father, we and all, it's different. We have seen the real waves and we know it's mithya. What mithya? It can sink a ship. Yeah, it can sink a ship. It's a manifestation. Manifestation I can accept. Not really a creation. It's not like created separate from the ocean. No, it's not created separate from the ocean. Part of the ocean. It's a manifestation. Then we'll go one step further. There is only water. There is no wave. Wave does not exist independent of the water. You touch the wave, you are touching the water. When the wave slams into you, it is the water that is slamming into you. Where is the wave? Only an appearance. So the same thing we'll do with creation. Existing book. What is it? Nothing but paper, etc. Wood pulp, etc. Molecules, etc. Come back to what? Formless existence. We start with the creation, theory of creation, not to prove creation, but to dismiss creation as something which is mithya, something which is apparent, when it's just an appearance. So the Shastra talks about creation, no doubt about it. Chandogya talks about, Taittiriya talks about, Mandukya talks about, lot of Upanishads that talks about. For what? Not to prove that there is a real creation, to prove that what you are seeing and calling a creation, in fact, why even call it a creation? Yeah, it's easier with non-living things. That is true. But with living things also the same, na? You're reducing into consciousness. In fact, in one way with the living things it's easier because you're reducing into consciousness. Direct, straightforward. The problem is when that conscious being behaves independent of you or starts impinging on you with their behavior. फिर गड़बड़ हो जाता है. I mean, it can be as simple as a kid rebelling against you. As simple as that. Doesn't call for a great issue. A kid being rebellious is enough to throw everything off. So, any theory of creation is not to prove creation. It is to
So,
prove.
Swamiji, is it easier when everybody is in the same level and understands the world? But when you are dealing with the world and the opposite person is very, kind of taking it in a different way, then you react in that particular
That
way.
is
So,
true.
select if the whole world knew that the truth was.
So don't bother about the world, bother about yourself and your understanding. Look at it. Now in your profession, you understand so much more about the body and health than the common man. Na? You go to a party, you will see some idiot making some conclusions about the body which you know is completely wrong. And he'll be asserting as though that is the truth. Do you try to correct that idiot? You are as a doctor with a doctorate to your name. You are the expert. You are an MD. Your opinion is a million times more valid than that guy's opinion. But you will not correct it. रहने दो यार, champion लोग हैं, बोलने दो क्या है. So sometimes you have to deal with that. You can say that, how you don't know what my sorrow is about my experience. You don't have that experience. Correct. So tell me. Help me understand. So the person start talking, they feel better. You don't have to correct the person, you don't understand. Everyone has suffered loss, so everyone understands what pain is. No, you don't understand, you've never been a parent. Now I can counter it intellectually, but it won't work with that person at that time. Because the person is too caught up in the emotion. That's like saying the doctor should have had every disease before he treats. So if I have not had malaria, I can't treat malaria. If I have not had typhoid, I can't treat. Is that true? So it's the same way people talk. My uncle once came and told, you don't know what marriage is about. You should know that before you walk out. So I answered him in sailor's language, which I will not say here. The guy didn't know what to say, he kept quiet. His face burned, his ears burned, his heart also burned. You don't have to experience everything. Some experiences, some data you need to analyze the world. So some experiences, good enough. Every experience nobody can have. Nobody can have every experience. Not necessary either. Not necessary either. But the Mithyatvam of the experience everyone has to understand. The subjectivity of the experience everyone has to understand. How what you call as experience only an appearance. People have to understand. How in spite of the whole theory of creation presented, the theory of creation is presented not to establish creation but to dismiss creation as just an appearance, as something which is mithya. That is the important point. And if that is understood, then it is fine. Yeah, Sagar, you have a question.
Swamiji, excuse me, I'm taking the Purvapakshin view here.
Yeah,
So,
take it.
so if they, I'm looking at the Dvaita school of arguments, like Jaya Tirtha, Vyasa Tirtha, they are saying that, you cannot dismiss the experience directly and compare it to a dream, because if it is completely like a dream, then all the gurus saying, all the teachings also are part of the dream, and they also become illusory. All the Guru Sishya Parampara becomes illusory. Bhakti, Dharma, all of it becomes like it doesn't have any meaning if all of it is contained inside illusion.
Okay, let me give you an answer to that. A simple answer. I can give you an elaborate answer, but keeping things. Let us say you are dreaming, and in the dream there is a lion. The roar of the lion woke you up. So the roar of a dream lion woke you up. Similarly, the teachings of a Mithya Guru and a Mithya Sishya, it worked. So that is why sometimes the Guru also looks like a lion, hair and beard and everything. He's also a Mithya lion, he's roaring and you'll wake up. Valid or not valid?
It serves the purpose of waking you up.
Yeah, the Purvapaksha is answered in that question. At the same time, we are not saying it is the same as the dream. We are saying it is similar. Meaning, at its own level, both appear as true. So since we are in the waking, we will do things in the waking. Let the dream guy takes care of the dream. The waking guy will take care of the waking, and he will understand that the whole waking, dream, deep sleep, all three are mithya. There is only one consciousness. So the Guru Sishya Parampara is not meant for eternity. Swamini started as my student. How do I treat her now? Many of you have seen in the camps and all. I treat her as a co-teacher. Why? No more student. You are a teacher in your own right. The teacher student, old time sake, we'll say. That's old time sake. Yeah. So the Guru Sishya is not meant for permanently. Though the student will feel different. Like the moment my teacher and all used to treat me, used to ask my opinion and that, on so many things. But I always treated him as Guru, because that is my way of keeping my thing fair enough, so that I will never be away from the truth. I will never let the ego come up and hijack me from the truth. That's my way of responding. Ensuring that I remain rooted in the truth. That every Sishya does. And every Guru says, yeah, you don't have to be my student anymore. You know the truth. Yeah, so karma phala, all this is part of the mithya world. The mithya order that is there. In dream there is an order, in waking there is a different order. Similar but different. Yeah. So the example is only to show that both are finite states, both are not real. We are not saying dream is more real than waking or waking is more real than dream. That's not the argument. The argument is when you are experiencing each, both appear real. And since now we are functioning in the waking, let us take care of things in the waking. Let the dreamer take care of it. Otherwise you can say, Swamiji, waking I'll have fun. Let the dreamer study Vedanta. If he has found a dream guru, fine. I mean a guru into the dream. Then fine. Consistently teaching is happening there, the dreamer will get it. But that I have no control over. Here at least I can find a guru and go and learn. So I'll do it in the waking. So that's where the whole thing is. So all the vyavahara, creation, this, that, etc. Only to understand There is only one reality and nothing else. Okay. So then he goes a little bit, develops the creation argument, which we will see next class. Good place to stop. Okay. Om Tat Sat.